because I do 1,300 crunches and sit-ups 4 times a week.
What's a dose? Can you translate for us?
Winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Ernie Els.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Go Track, the podcast about golf and golf-adjacent stuff, mostly from Africa. My name is Terence, or you can use any combination of TBag, T-Bone, except Terence, just straight up T. A lot of variations there. We are playing a little 3-ball this evening. Stoked to have another guest with us. But first, I'm going to just say hi to JDV. How's it going?
What up, T-Bag, T-Bone, and any other variation of T?
Acceptance is also another one. And thrilled to be joined by Swan this evening. Good evening, Swan.
T-Bone, how are you, brother? Jacques roped me into this whole
T-Bone
thing.
works well. Maybe briefly give our audience a little quick introduction, Swan. It's your life story.
I met Jacques on a rainy, cold night in Maritzburg. Didn't really want to meet anyone, was hoping to get out of that town as soon as possible. But anyway, came across him. Long story short, my current wife, we haven't had one before, was good mates with Jacques back in the day. And she said, come and have a drink with my new boyfriend being me, because they were mates. And we started talking about golf. The moment I mentioned to Jacques that I caddied in a British Open, I think that was him sold. And I think we were at the keg, and I think literally Jacques and I took our own table up, and
you girls
Gabs and her mates had
yourself.
to sit on their own table. For the
That
rest
was
of the
6
night.
hours gone.
Gone. Yeah, and then the rest is really history. So we stand there now, all just enjoying golf.
Well, it's awesome to have you with us. Jacques has mentioned to me that he's got a mate who caddied in the British Open. I think he's mentioned it about 16 times. It's nice to put a name to a face. We've got a really cool topic this evening, but I'm not going to introduce the topic just yet. Because I am going to hand over the chair this evening. Decided to just bit of a substitute teacher vibe here. I've had we're going to be hosting another podcast on Monday night. Obviously, I've been spending most of my deep research time on that one. So I'm handing over the reins to JDV, who's going to run with the show this evening. But before I do that, interesting last night, Swan. I said to Jacques, look, why don't you take the host chair for tomorrow evening? And anyway, about half an hour later, I get this WhatsApp message with this 5-page agenda for the podcast that we're going to be following. Now, normally we keep things pretty chilled here. Like we do an agenda maybe via WhatsApp. I don't know if I think you were copied in on the email, Swan, but I don't know if you saw the PDF document that went around, which had our Go Track logo embossed on it. Oh, did you get the PDF document?
Yeah, but I mean, I just thought that's what you guys normally distribute. So it turns out that that's not the norm. I was very impressed, to be honest, for Jacques, because Jacques not normally an oak to do these fancy things. He's normally a guy that would just delegate that task. But anyway, that's cool.
Setting the expectations.
Well, I think it was either that or doing dad duties. I think possibly. So I said to Jacques, he gets. I offer him the host chair temporarily, and suddenly he's campaigning for head boy. So consider this your sort of a job interview this evening, Jacques. And with that, I'm gonna hand the reins directly over to you. What are we talking about this evening?
Thanks, T-Bag. Yeah, this evening, one of the reasons we also got Swannie on is he has played a lot of courses and hails originally from Johannesburg. So I think there'd be a massive blind spot in this podcast if we didn't have Avali here. I think you still identify as Avali, Swan, even if you're not actually one anymore. So yeah,
Absolutely. Isn't Belito Johannesburg?
yeah, fair enough. Well, there we go. So tonight we are going
It's
to
turning into it.
yeah, we're going to have a look at the top 100 golf courses of 2024, which got announced this week. It was done in conjunction with the top 100 website. Just a little history behind the top 100. It was done by Golf Digest many years ago. And then Golf Digest, the magazine, sort of went out of print. And there was no top 100 for a while. So, you didn't really know what sort of a course you were playing. I mean, it was pandemonium out there. So Stuart McLean, I think it is the man behind it. He's also the man behind the top 100 website. And the two Golf Digest has now launched a digital version of the Golf Digest, which comes out through the My Golf Life website. And that came out on Monday, and then Wednesday the top 100 website mirrored that, the one that's also, I think, run by Stuart. So we've got a new top 100 golf courses in SA, new rankings, and obviously a lot of the clubs, they've got it framed in their receptions and in their pro shops where they sit in the rankings. I don't know, for me this was always a big thing. I would always buy the magazine when this came out. I love, planning golf tours. I always refer back to the top 100 to say, come on guys, you're doing two top 20s and a top 50 or whatever the case is. So I put quite a lot of emphasis on the top 100 in terms of where I get my information for what a golf course is like that I haven't played before, but also from needling guys a bit. We've needled Swannie, who's grew up in Dainfern, and needled him for probably close on a decade, maybe a bit more now, that it's still not better than VCC. So maybe just as an introduction, I'd maybe just throw it over to maybe just throw it over to Swannie. What is your sort of relationship with the top 100? Do you refer to it a lot? Is it something that you have regard to?
Well, first of all, I mean, I don't know what it is with you, KZ and Oaks, and going back to your kind of where you come from, where you went to school story, but obviously it's something bigger. So yeah, Terence. I was a member at Dainfern, crikey, I don't know how many years ago, but maybe 18 years ago. But Jacques still harpens on that. I mean, since then, I've been a member at Victoria Country Club in Pietermaritzburg. I've been a member at Swannie Country Club in Belito. And I'm currently a member at Noordsburg Golf Club in, Wartburg area.
Great town area, yeah.
Oh, so, what a great little course that is.
It's amazing. I'm gonna throw a few little positive vibes out there. But yeah, so so I don't know why, Jacques, you have to keep pulling back to Dainfern. But yes, it does sit deep in my heart because I was there for a long time. But we do have to talk about Cotswold. We'll get there though. Look, the top 100 I think is interesting. The top 5 for me is exceptionally interesting because I think it separates by like 1.4. The top 5, like the separation between first and fifth is really, really minute. And we have to say, very importantly, Gary Player, who's obviously Jacques' legend and he loves him, he's designed 3 of the top 5 courses. I mean, besides the fact that he's got 19 abdominal muscles and does 350 push-ups at the age of 83,
4 times a week,
and can still break his age in gross. He's obviously got an eye for geometry, trigonometry, blah blah blah. He should have probably been an astronaut, but anyway, he's probably a few folks want to leave him in space, but he's done a good job in terms of designing courses. You got to give it to the man.
Terence, I mean, with you, are you also do you have a look at the top 100? Is it something that you pay a lot of attention to, or do you sort of go more by word of mouth?
No, it is, Jacques. It's weird. I look back and I think maybe 10 years ago, 7 to 10 years ago, it was something that I would have really used as like my list to tick off courses. Actually, I wanted to show this to you because in 2018, myself and two of my mates, we decided that we wanted to play. We were going to tick off the top 100, and we weren't sure. Obviously, you're not going to do it in a year unless it'll be a hell of an optimistic thing to try. But so we decided at some point in time we had to fix the top 100 that we were going to tick off and try and do it over a period of like 10 years. So I actually still have the copy of the 2018 Golf Digest, and this was the top 100 that we had selected. For those listening, I'm just showing the boys the cover here. But yeah, it's sort of still in the condition, it's a bit like an old porn magazine, you know. Some of the pages are a little bit sticky, but it still reads pretty well. And it's quite interesting looking at some of the rankings in here. This was apparently the last one they printed. So this is feeling like a bit of a relic now, but it's quite interesting looking where courses were in here and where some of them have ended up now. So, Jacques, as you know, I'm on a bit of a journey when it comes to at the moment I've got more of an affinity with sort of playing some of the historical courses in South Africa. Some of the courses, built in sort of pre-50s. So I'd be lying if I said I'm just trying to work my way down from like number one all the way through. Obviously, I'd love to be able to do that. But yeah, I think the top 100 is a big deal. I think I have a lot of questions about how they come up with these rankings, by the way. So we really need to get into that. But I think it is a big deal for golf courses. And I think it's a big deal for golfers to see A, where their course is ranked, and B, where they might want to go play. And that's why I think the rankings have quite a big commercial impact, potentially on courses, especially courses that maybe drop down like a significant number of places. So it holds quite a lot of weight, I think, in the public's eye.
So, I mean, so I think that is it. I mean, there's been huge changes, and maybe the next thing before we dive into the actual rankings is just to talk about how the rankings have actually changed. So, the biggest change that they've made to the rankings this year, which has probably seen quite a lot of churn and shift, is that they've got rid of what was called the resistance to scoring, and they've replaced it more with playability. Terence, and I try to read it and understand it, and for me the playability aspect of it was the eye test. I mean, that's probably equated to the Golf Digest eye test, but I think that's a good thing. They've said, why is the resistance to scoring, which was based on how a course defended itself against a scratch player from the back tees, and a course got rewarded for that. And I think the thinking behind it is, well, why are we ranking courses, or why are we giving any sort of regard to courses for the 1% of golfers who play off scratch off the back tees, when we should be looking at the general player going out there, playing from the club tees, the variety of tees that there are and how that course plays from those various tees, and giving more emphasis to the playability. The other thing was more emphasis on conditioning, so more points were awarded, or a bigger percentage of points were awarded in the rankings to conditioning, which I think is a good thing. It's an easy fix. It's not like the spoiler alert, Nutsburg's not in the top 100, but let's say Nutsburg was wanting to push itself into the top 100. They could focus all their energy on conditioning without necessarily redesigning and putting in bunkers and spending a ton of money on changing the architecture of it. There's quite a lot of points to be had for conditioning and playability. Put in a couple more tee boxes and make minor changes to make it a better course. That was my sort of takeaway from the changes they've made. I think it's a positive. Mark, do you reckon that's a positive or a negative change? I know you, having seen the top guys play, do you still think resistance to scoring should be a bigger consideration, or do you think them scrapping it is a good thing for the rankings?
Playability, right?
Yeah, versus versus basically how hard the golf course is for scratch golfers.
Yeah, well, I think playability is important, but I mean, so yeah, just Nerdsburg, just to clear Nerdsburg. Obviously, Nerdsburg won't make the map based on it being a 9-hole golf course.
Well,
But
shout out
Stuart
Boschuk.
McLean, yeah, are they there?
Yep, they're there. We're gonna get to that. I'm sure
Where
we'll have a
they're rated?
discussion about a 9-hole course making
Okay,
the top
Shout
100.
out
so Stuart, so Stuart, apparently, this is what Jens, who's the club captain of Nerdsburg, told me, that he went there last week Thursday. They're the club champs this weekend, and he I don't want to quote him, but apparently he rated the greens as probably the best greens he had seen in terms of a short course. Seriously, and they were phenomenal. I mean, I played on the weekend, and that goes to show for a course where it's maintained by farmers, you know what I mean, and a couple of workers really that do a fantastic job. So they were good. But playability, I think, is a massive thing, and I'll tell you why. So you take Leopard Creek as an example, right? So Leopard Creek as a golf course, you can play that course off yellow, same as St. Francis Links. You can play it off yellow, so right at the back, or you can play it off the normal club tees. Now, Leopard Creek off white for me is not such a challenge. Okay, it's hard, don't get me wrong, but it's not the same. If you play the links at, sorry, not St. Francis, the Fancourt links, you play Fancourt links off the tips. Believe you me, you're in for a whole nother experience. So I think the playability side is obviously a great thing if they can modify the course and change the course so drastically that you have the ability to actually enjoy a golf course off a normal club tee. Then you can also experience the whole other side of it where you're getting tested from the back. And I mean that goes on. I think every single course in the top 5 has that ability.
Yeah, so I think, look, ultimately, I think it's a positive thing. I think, you want to be, the average golfer is the person looking at this. The top, the scratch golfers, I think they know what they're in for, and we're not really interested from playing from the tips. It's maybe a bit of a gimmicky thing. We can talk about Pearl Valley and the shit show that happened there on our golf tour, but I think the other thing that I wanted to mention, DCC sat out this round. So no Durban Country Club consideration. I think it's a similar situation when Leopard Creek was redoing all their greens, etc. They also sat out for a 2-year period, opting not to have their course rated. Interestingly, also 2 courses in South Africa that I wanted to mention also are not rated because they don't allow the guys to rate them. Is Millvale, which is the Investec private course, and also the River Club, which is basically like the Augusta of South Africa. Terence, your sort of thoughts on that, or just the top 100 generally?
Jacques, thanks. I wanted to just chat a bit about the criteria because I do have some questions there, but I'm all for playability. I think I would even have it as a higher ranking. And to be honest, I think they could simplify these criteria a little bit. I think most golfers enjoy a course much more when they don't feel like they've had the shit kicked out of them. And a lot of golf courses do a great job at that. A lot of golf courses, I think, do a terrible job at that, and sometimes first impressions are massive. I think conditioning is what it is. I think there obviously is a focus on conditioning. I think it's important for sure. I like the category they have on aesthetics. I don't know if that's very well explained, but to me, that's talking about essentially where the golf course is, sort of outside of like the surround. So I think a great example for that for me is Serengeti. Like, it's a great golf course and it's a nice experience, but it's one of the like shittest locations like in South Africa. it's a terrible, like it's for me. I was just like, this is really crappy land. This is not great. Some questions around. They have design variety and then they have shot values. I think they could simplify that a little bit. There's a bit of confusion there between, I was just reading the descriptions of those. They talk about like the more variety a course has, the better, which I agree with to a certain extent. But if you read the copy, in their description, I think it's a little bit ambiguous. And I think between that and shot values, I think you could sort of probably combine those two. I'm a big sort of believer in shot values, and I think that's something that a lot of people probably don't understand that well. And honestly, it's something that I'm only sort of starting to begin to understand, sort of getting more into golf architecture and looking at historical courses and strategic golf. And I'm only really starting to open my eyes a little bit when I look at a golf course as to how shot values impact. But I think it's a really important category. My question, Jacques, is they don't give us any information on who actually is on this panel and how many people are involved in doing this, and if it's done, like, is this done on an annual basis that they go and visit all these clubs? Got some questions there which don't seem to be forthcoming.
So I
don't know
can.
if you have any info on that.
I do have some info. So that's on the website. They changed it from what used to be a panel that used to do it for Golf Digest. So you had to be part of a panel of reviewers, where they've now dealt with to say, look, anyone can sort of review a course. But what happens is that when you review the course, they'll obviously scratch the outliers and the rest of it. So that's how they're doing it now. So anyone can do it. They explain how the ranking works, etc. And then from there, anyone can do it. So it is more of a crowdfunded thing, but at the same time, it's the guys who part of the top 100 golf courses, and you can go and rank the courses based on all of that, and they sort of scrub it out, the outliers, etc. So there is a bit of a vetting situation after that. But yeah, it isn't as exclusive in terms of have to be accepted onto the panel to rate these things. That's my understanding. I'm open to correction, but I think that's what I recall reading on the website. But do you
think it's like a Zimbabwe election vetting process, or do you think it's a bit more transparent?
No, I'm pretty sure it's extremely not transparent. What's the opposite of transparent? But
no, that's cool. I mean, that makes sense to have a bit of a public opinion, but I'm sure they have, I'm sure they weight that opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, I mean, it's important questions, right? Because if this is impacting clubs like commercially,
which it does. I mean, it definitely does.
Which I think it does.
Yeah. So Terence, Swannie, let's get on to the top 100. I think we 20 minutes in, and let's start with the 100 to 91. And I'm just going to read them, and just stop me, I'll be able to see you on the screen, but just pop your hand up and I'll stop if you want me to. Okay, so at number 100, coming in at number 100, new entry is Port Elizabeth Golf Club. 99 is South Broom. I'd like to stop there for a second. South Broom's always been sort of languishing down in the 80s and the 90s. It's down 2 places from last year's 97. I sort of understand it, and I don't. I think the aesthetics and the rest of it, South Broom, when you think about all the courses in KZN in particular, like I don't see South Broom as the sort of the more bottom of the pile course. Do you guys feel the same way?
Yeah, I think, Jacques, the conditioning side's definitely gone to a ball, if I'm honest. I mean, didn't you play with me there quite recently? Yeah, it used to be a lot better. I don't know if it's maybe funding or what the story is there, but they need to figure out something there. But Southbrim will always be Southbrim. It's a cool track. It's a lot of fun to play. It's obviously that one hole, that little par 3 there is quite amazing. That you're practically teeing it up on the rocks and then hitting it onto that little green with a little gap wedge where you could make 7 or you could make 3, depending on how good you are. Yeah, I don't know. Terence, how often have you played there?
Well, I do want to shout Southbrim out because I see they did win the best pro shop. So, I mean, that's not an easy title to take. Best pro shop. Is
that still Derek James, eh?
No idea. There's a picture of them in the magazine. Very colourful. You can actually go look at them. But yeah, you can have a look at that. It's in the article. Jock, I was a little surprised to see it down there. I thought it certainly wouldn't be in my top sort of 50 or 60. But again, maybe that speaks to the quality of courses across South Africa, because it is a pretty good layout. I think commercially it's quite a successful golf course from what I understand. But yeah, I haven't played it in a couple of years, so I can't really comment on its condition at the moment.
Okay, let's move on. So number 98, we've got Michali's Park, 97, Jackal Creek, 96, Olivewood, 95, Boschhoek. Anyone want to say anything about Boschhoek? This is the 9-holer one that you thought. So look, there's something Nutsburg is aspiring to. There's the 9-holer that they've got to beat.
Yeah, it's probably there because of that, to be honest, because its conditioning's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Its playability's tough. Its conditioning's incredible, to be honest.
So Terence and I did take a shit ton of heat from Hoff when we put the par 5 at Boschhoek in one of the top 5 par 5s in KZN, which I stand by. But I still think that is a beast and an epic par 5 at Boschhoek. As you say, conditioning
around the dam
is great. Yes, yeah, that one.
You're obviously both pop guns if you reckon that's probably one of the best par 5s. Get up there in 2 with a 7-iron.
Sure, not
anyway,
half
an hour I'll have a chat about.
Yeah, you need to revise your resistance to scoring comment earlier than Swan. All right, so we've got Skuman's Park at 94, Mfuleni at 93, 92 is Kingswood, and 91 is Bloemfontein Country Club. So that's our top, or bottom, should I say, 90 to 100. Any other comments there that you want to mention? I mean, obviously some notables missing out there that we know from KZN. I mean, I'm spoiler alert, they don't show up later as Kloof Country Club. We give them a lot of shit on this podcast, but would be bad if we didn't shout them out.
Jacques, just breaking news. I actually just got a voice note from Hoff just on his thoughts on Boschhoek being included in the top 100. So let me just play that quickly for you. Yeah, that's just a quick recording from his house. So
he's pretty stoked with it. So yeah, I think that's it. I mean,
Jacques, I don't know. We're not going to dwell on them too long, but I did recently go to Olivewood near East London. It's obviously like a brand new course. I mean, it's probably 3 or 4 years old. It's interesting to see it like have a pretty massive drop. Yeah. I mean, it's compared to other courses like 8 or 9 places. So it'd be interesting to know what the reasoning behind that is. Because, you know, most of those aspects, the scoring shouldn't change that much, right? They haven't changed the layout. The aesthetics really good. So I don't know, you got to think maybe the conditioning, they've lost control somewhere. But still a course that I'm very keen to play. I was a little surprised to see Kingswood sort of down in the 90s. But otherwise, no, carry on.
All right, 90 to 81. At 90, we've got Milnerton. Again, that's down 4 places. I like Milnerton. It's also one of the few true links, I think, linksy courses in South Africa on the sea, following the normal contours of the land. I know they're losing a lot of holes to erosion there, which there's also an article on the top 100 websites about that. But yeah, a little bit sad to see Milnerton so far down. I quite like that course. You've got Catberg at 89, Parys at 88, Wedgwood at 87, Royal Port Alfred. Terence, I know you're going to want to say something about that. Is that 86? Do you want to say anything about Royal Port Alfred? I know you've played there quite recently.
Yeah, I mean, I play there probably a couple times every year with having a place that we go down there on holiday quite often. I think interesting considering it's a very old course and they haven't made any major changes there in probably 50 years or something. Looking in my magazine here, it was at 98 back in 2018. So, I mean, it's up 12 places on the back of probably not, I can only imagine is, a bit of a change in the way that the rankings are done.
Okay, Swannie, I want your comments here. I mean, we've got one of the big droppers of the new rankings, which is Obai. I know you've got quite strong thoughts on Obai every time I've suggested playing it. Maybe just before you come in, they have been bought by I think it's someone from Dubai or Abu Dhabi or somewhere is bought them out. So I know that the residents there were having a bit of a meltdown because I think the development and the golf course are separate, and they're going to get a nice big injection of money. So hopefully Obai recovers from where it was, but down 17 places from the last one to 68. But yeah, Swannie, I don't know if you want to say anything about Obai generally. It's sitting at 85. I think it was, it's down 17 from 68, and that was 68 was probably down a good couple from the years before that as well. So it's had a pretty precipitous drop.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to harp on it, but it is pretty. I mean, like we've discussed, playability is the number one factor, really, right? From what we're taking out of this, it's one of big point kind of thing in the terms of the top 100. Milnerton, going to Milnerton. So Milnerton's a phenomenal golf course. I agree with you, Jacques. But Milnerton, playability-wise, is a beast of a course. And the problem with Obai is if you're going to play Obai, you're guaranteed to play Obai and win. You're never going to play Obai on a calm day. If you do, well done for you. Good luck. And it's the same as Pinnacle Point. So I've played Obai, guys, where the wind was so bad, the ball was literally blowing off the green. Okay. The people who we were playing with, which was my mom and dad, they left and they went home. But Carlo, Jacques knows, good friend of mine, Carlo, now lives in Australia. He's a phenomenal golfer. Won club champs at Parkview. I think he was the youngest guy ever to win club champs in South Africa at one point. I think he was about 14. I think he's won it 3 times or 4 times. But anyway, so him and I decided to carry on playing with a lot of beers and, with the ball blowing off and still a lot of fun. But I mean,
Sorry.
It's okay. You can clap for Oba. So or for Carlo for winning club champs so many times and being young. But yeah, we literally played in the worst conditions ever. The best part of that whole experience was the fact that like Carlo would slam on brakes and my head would get wedged between the windscreen and the golf cart kind of body. But other than that, Oba wasn't a great experience. Yeah, it's tough from playability point of view. So I haven't had great. I don't think I've played one round at Obai where it's been calm, to be honest.
All right, let's.
But just on any Jacques, you can get there.
It was in the top 30. It was in the top 30 here in 2018.
Yeah, so there we go. 2018 top 30. It's sitting at 85 now. Yeah. So it's a lot. Sorry, Swan, you were saying about any else?
Just don't. Yeah, you probably will get there, or maybe you won't. But Ernie else has just gone and put his stamp on Zimbali Lakes, which I'm sure Terence is aware of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a new entry coming next year.
Yeah, so I've got that here. So I do think it's going to be interesting to see where Ernie else design Zimbali Lakes comes in. I know that the last sort of big golf course to get built was Stay City. But let's quickly go here. So 84, we've got King David Mowbray. That's down 6 places. I think that rose quite a lot and has dropped now a bit. 83, Rand Park, Bushwillow. 82, Westlake. 81, Goose Valley. Any comments there? I did play Goose Valley over the holidays. I had some comments about the pace of play there, but again, we said that was probably more to do with the time in the season than anything else. Westlake, Swannie, also a wind issue. It's right at the bottom of the mountain. It just gets absolutely pummeled by wind. I mean, courses 81 to 90. I don't know if there's anything other than, Obai for me that sort of sticks out and Milnerton in those ones. Is there anything else that you guys want to comment on in those 80?
What's Goose Valley?
81.
Yeah, Scary Player must be upset with that. Isn't that his home club?
No. Isn't his home club, what's it, Blair Ethel? It's where his horses and everything are stable.
Yeah, well,
It depends which Gary player you're talking about, because he's obviously he's cloned himself. So he has several versions of himself which pop up in different parts of the world. So he probably is his home club, the Southern Cape Gary player.
I'm certain, eh? We must maybe do a little handicap search there, but I reckon he's at Goose Valley. We'll have a look now while you carry on with the next 20 places.
All right, so let's move up. So we're going 80 to 70 here. St. Francis Bay Golf Club at 80. Amdoni Park at 79. Waterkloof at 78. I'm just going to go through them and then we can discuss the ones you want at the end. Mossel Bay Golf Club at 77. Glen Vista at 76. Knysna Golf Club at 75. Goldfields West at 74. The Lakes at Mount Edgecombe at 73. Swannie, you're going to correct me, but Reimsig, is that right? At 72,
Reimsig,
and Euphoria at
100% right.
well done. And Euphoria at 71. The things that stick out for me here, I just quickly wanted to do a shout out to Knysna. Swan, I know you mates with Maya. They mentioned him by name in this Golf Digest magazine as part of the reason that Knysna Golf Club has jumped up from 5 places from 80. I recall it not even being in the top 100, Terence, in that 2018 edition. So Knysna Golf Club really making strides. I know that the members there are pretty passionate about Knysna Golf Club, and maybe just declaring my conflict. My dad is a member at Knysna Golf Club, but yeah, they're putting in a bunch of new bunkers, etc. But it is climbing steadily. The other one, obviously, I wanted to mention is Amdoni Park. No change from 2023. It's sitting at 79 now. I think Amdoni Park gets severely elevated by aesthetics, which we can discuss at the end. But there's few courses in South Africa which have the aesthetics of Amdoni Park, and I think it probably gets full marks there, and then probably struggles on some of the other sort of conditioning aspects at times. But their greens are good. I really like Amdoni Park greens. The clubhouse is great. But yeah, those were the two big ones I wanted to shout out. I don't know if any of you want to, Swannie, maybe chat about the Lakes at Mount Edgecombe, or if you've got any other comments, Terence and Swan on 71 to 80.
Yeah, just to say, you spot on. That's Knysna and interestingly, Knysna and the Lakes were not even in the top 100 in 2018. Just looking at this magazine here, so that's interesting. I've played Knysna. I really liked it. I know they had some like flooding issues there at some points, but yeah, it's a great course. Amdoni was 79 in 2018. Hasn't moved. It's just anchored there. I think it's probably about right, Jacques, for me, for Amdoni. I actually don't want to see Amdoni go any higher, because then guys will start like flooding there and will destroy our beautiful like hidden gem on the south coast. So yeah, it's not that great, guys. Just, you probably want to give it a skip. Yeah, no, I love Amdoni. Yeah, but it's probably in its right spot there. Just a point of interest. I had no idea that Euphoria was designed by Annika Sorenstam.
Yeah,
It's certainly a fact that I've just learned in the last 2 minutes. But yeah, I don't honestly have too much other input on the Gauteng-based courses. I don't know. Maybe Swannie does.
Yeah, so look, Knysna Meyer, yeah, incredible guy, wonderful at what he does. He was an apprentice to Jeff Claus, who's the main boy at St. Francis Links. I mean, if you go to St. Francis Links, the experience you have there is next level. That is remarkable. And he pretty much taught May everything he knows. May has turned around courses from Samola to
Sanlamir.
one here in our back door, being Sanlamir, where we had an experience there, Jacques, where it was unreal. Every little touch from what you can think of. So yeah, May is always going to turn a course around, and it's good to see that they mention him. I think he deserves it. Going up that far. Amdoni, I agree with you, Terence. But the thing is with Amdoni, I don't think Amdoni is really going to go much further, to be honest, because Amdoni is always going to have that raw quality, and that's the beauty of it. You're not going to get much more from Amdoni. You can change a few things, and you might gain 5 or 10 places, but that's going to be Amdoni. So yeah, don't worry.
I agree.
It'll keep
I agree.
It'll keep the boys away that you don't want there. Ramsick's amazing, eh, Jacques? I don't know if you've ever played there. Great golf course. Play a lot of scratch league there. Seriously, seriously good. Long, tough. Yeah, I'm trying to look at the other ones here that you mentioned.
So I mean, let's just
Yeah.
the lakes are up 10 places. One, I don't know if you want to mention that. I mean, they did get a shout out there just for both the Mount Edgecombe courses, like making huge jumps in the rankings this year.
Jacques, I don't know when last you played Mount Edgecombe Woods or Lakes. Was it recently?
Yeah, probably about 6 months to a year ago.
Oh, cheapest as long as that. No, the conditioning of those courses at the moment is seriously incredible. Like the greens are probably the best greens in KZN.
Yeah.
They've taken over Vic and everything like that. They're amazing. Yeah, anyone should go. The changes that they've made will get to that course. But talking about Mount Edgecombe Woods, the changes they made there are brilliant, from bunker placement, which is a lot of things that Stuart chats about in terms of the rankings. You know, it's where you position bunkers, how the playability works from different aspects of tee placement and things like that. Yeah, there's a lot of really good changes at the lake, at the Woods. Lakes has always been great. It's just obviously a very different course. For me, it's not my favorite, to be honest. Out of the two, I'd rather play Woods every day of the week.
Well, it's the higher ranked of the two, so that's probably why. So you're just a slave to the rankings.
Jacques, I'm not like you, brother. I play a course that suits my eye. Just quickly on that, I know we're probably talking too much here, but Ehrenvale, we played Ehrenvale recently, and Ryan Kaiser, I said to him, I wasn't blown away by Ehrenvale. We can get to Ehrenvale, but I wasn't blown away by Ehrenvale. So we'll chat a bit more when we get there.
So what? I'm waiting for the comp between Ehrenvale and the Lakes.
Oh, you want to hear? No. Okay.
No, well, let's chat Ehrenvale.
No. Okay, let's get there.
I wanted to just say, Terence, like you said, I mean, maybe what they do with the rankings is they start with Amdoni and they say, is it better or worse than Amdoni? And that's why it sits at 79 every year.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice little benchmark for the rest of the field to measure themselves against. You know, it's never going to leave the top 100. It's just got too much bones that are there.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
And the aesthetic, the surrounding aesthetic's never going to knock it out. But out of interest, Swannie, what is the reason for? Am I right in saying that there was a bit of a change of the team at Mount Edgecombe in terms of greenskeepers and people that they brought into that the team there? That's improved the conditioning so much.
Yeah, look, to be honest, I don't know. I do know that who's the golf director there again? Kevin Stone, isn't it? Or has he moved on?
I think that's who I was thinking of. Yeah, I think that's who I was thinking of.
So Kevin Stone and his wife came in. I think Kevin's just recently moved on. I stand to be corrected. He took up a position. Anyway, I can't quite remember, but yeah, he turned it around. There was a lot of things that he did do there that made huge changes at Mount Edgecombe in general. Both of them are like an incredible team. I mean, now they were part of what's that course by Lansbury? It's not the Ulster Club, man.
Copperleaf.
Copperleaf. So they were the golf directing team at Copperleaf, and they did a great job there. I know that Stu Smitheram, I have to mention his name, he was very upset by the fact that, because he's become quite a birdie. So what happened was they wanted, the only way you can prevent Egyptian geese from kind of destroying a golf course is to take them away from having a place of security at night. So what Mount Edgecombe did before Kevin Stone joined is they actually grew the reeds quite high around all the dams, so that at night the geese couldn't go and find a place for security. So anyway, what happened is that chased the Egyptian geese away, and Kevin said, "No, this looks shit." So what he did was he cut all those reeds back, and all the geese came back. so now, then anyway, so there's a massive debate going on here, and apparently some guy stood up in one of these birding committees there at Mount Edgecombe and said, "Why don't we just shoot the things?" And I can just imagine how that went down.
Yeah.
Anyway, little fun fact. That's how you get rid of Egyptian geese.
Yeah. Well, I won't say anything about Cotswold, but needless to say, there's way fewer Egyptian geese at Cotswold with the necessary environmental approvals in place. Let's quickly.
There
That's a
was
story.
a deep resolution passed. Just while we're talking about Egyptian geese, because it may be more interesting than like the courses 50 to 60. There was when I was a student at Cape Town. We used to play at Rondebosch a lot, and I don't know if you guys played there, but like they had a serious Egyptian goose problem. I mean, there were thousands of the thing. I mean, it was pretty easy to hit one. On your drives or whatever. But anyway, there was one particular Egyptian goose there that at some point, obviously, somebody had taken it upon themselves to start like their own little culling process. And this thing, but the guy had used a crossbow, an arrow. And there was a goose walking around at Rondebosch with half an arrow sticking sticking out of it. Obviously, he hadn't killed it, and they decided if they pulled this arrow out, it was going to the goose would die. So they just had chopped off half of it, and this thing was still waddling around with this bloody half arrow. It was a hell of a sight.
So
the things you see as golfers.
Well, I was about to say, I think we're digressing. I'm not sure about the impact Egyptian geese have on the top 100, probably on conditioning. But let's quickly get back to the task at hand here. Okay, so we're going 70 to 61.
But Jacques, this is a serious question though, because we've spoken about birds previously. Like where does that factor in what criteria do you think that factors into?
Definitely
like at Glendower, those excessive parakeets,
So I'm thinking about the good and the
What do you
bad.
think?
I mean,
aesthetic?
Yeah, probably aesthetics. I mean, you've got the good. I mean, there's nothing better at courses than diverse bird life, and there's nothing worse than
fish eagles,
a million Egyptian geese or hardy-dars squawking on your backswing. So I'm sure that goes into it. Probably playability as well. I mean, if you've got a hardy-dar going nuts on your backswing, that's going to affect your playability pretty badly. So resistance to scoring, that's why it's changed. All the courses that had hardy-dars squawking in your backswing were probably way higher earlier because it was resistance to scoring. Okay. I want to just...
Terence, you mentioned, sorry, Jacques. Terence mentioned Serengeti. Serengeti, that one par 5, I think it's a par 5. My word, I think there's about 2 million Egyptian geese that just sit there. And they sit there and they shit there. And if you want to try and play that all, good luck, my friend. Anyway, move on.
Well, that was Cotswold 18, but like I said, it's looking pristine at the moment. Thanks to some environmental approvals. Anyway, number 70. I want to stop here and we can deal with both the courses at the same time and possibly the point. Number 70 is Lost City. Now, for me, this is quite hectic. It's down 5 places from number 65. But for me, Lost City was always, Gary Player and Lost City were top 20 courses. Gary Player was top 5 and Lost City was top 20, and you go there and you play both those courses together. I'm going to sort of spoiler alert here and tell you where Gary Player is. It's sitting at sorry, I was going to tell you. I'm still going down the rankings trying to find it again. Jump in to help me if you can find it.
I think it's
Gary Player's at
20s.
17. So Gary Player's at 17, down 5 places, and then you've got Lost City at 70. You've also got Wild Coast, which is one of the big drops this season, and the other Sun international course would have been Fish River Sun, which is now completely off the map. I don't think Fish River Sun is a Sun international thing either. But for me, I just wanted to say it's a little bit sad because those were all epic courses. Lost City, Sun City, Fish River, and Wild Coast, and it is a little bit sad to see those sort of courses just absolutely plummet. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Obviously, COVID's had a big impact, the hospitality industry generally, but specifically Lost City and Gary Player as a combination, as a destination. What do you guys think? I'll start with you, Terence.
Well, interesting enough, Jacques, I happened to be reading the financial commentary on the Sun group yesterday, just by chance. They had released their financial results recently. And they are battling from a hospitality perspective. But funnily enough, the part of their business which is like shooting the lights out is online gambling. I think it's called Sunbet, and yeah, you can't help but wonder if maybe their attention is elsewhere since COVID. I know that Gary Player Country Club, they did say in the magazine that it has lost a bit of ranking because they've removed that resistance to scoring. Really love all the Sun golf courses. I think one of the saddest things is to see Fish River Sun. Basically, it's gone now. It's going to be like one of those. I drove past it the other day, and the grass was about the same height as my car. Well, it's
is it
not
gone
even. I don't
completely?
even know if goats would. I don't even know if goats would venture out there. It's basically gone. It's going to be like Jumanji, that clubhouse is just the vegetation is going to slowly like grow through it, and we're going to be able to drive past there one day with our grandkids, and sort of they won't believe us that we played golf there. I love that course, being sort of at school, like down at school in the Eastern Cape, and that it was a place that I played at quite a lot. So quite sad. I believe Wild Coast is, from what I've heard, the conditioning at the moment is not great. So yeah, I mean, it is a little sad. It's something I was thinking about, Jacques, chatting with somebody else recently was, internationally, when you look at some of the really top golf courses around the world, there's quite a few of them that are part of hospitality groups. So they're not like traditional clubs, with members, and you've got places like Bandon Dunes, you've got the Cabot sort of collection of courses, and the Sun collection of courses are basically the only brand of courses that we have in the country, unless I'm mistaken. I know we have designers who sign their names to it, but not sure they're owned by like a hospitality type company. So maybe it's a bit of a sign of the times that perhaps that model is in South Africa anyway isn't working.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair point. My next thing that I put in the agenda, it was in there in the fine print, so I don't know if you guys saw it, but was looking at the sort of fall from grace of Wild Coast. I've said on previous pods that we played it recently, and I was a little bit sad about just sort of how far Wild Coast has fallen as a golf course, and whether its current ranking is still too high. I mean, if you look at the courses that Wild Coast is better than, and again, I haven't played Lost City in probably eight years, or probably maybe a bit less than that. But Wild Coast being top of mind, I was thinking, is Wild Coast still too high, and is it quite sad how far it's fallen? But anyway, Swannie, I don't know if you want to mention anything just about on that topic generally before we move on.
Wild Coast or
Just the Sun,
Lost City?
the Sun International courses in general.
No, look, Lost City. Just on that one, I think Lost City is a good course, but it's a bit gimmicky. If I'm honest, it's not. It's probably not. It deserves to be where it is, in my opinion. You got a lot of blind tee shots. You got that hole where you hit over some crocodiles, and that's lovely if you're coming from America or one of those European countries where you want to, potentially maybe climb down a ladder and hit a ball off a crocodile's head or some rubbish like it. I don't know. That's attractive to them, but for me, it's not. So yeah, look, I mean, it's conditioned well. Its playability is fine. Can be tough, but yeah. Wild Coast, yeah, Jacques, I mean, like you mentioned, it's sad to see where it is. It definitely wasn't in the condition that I knew it to be. The layout is next level though. So, I mean, if they could get it up there, I think that course should be up there in the top 30, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's a remarkable golf course.
Okay, let's quickly move on to the next ones. We've got 69 Eagle Canyon, 68 Centurion, 67 Paul the Old Course, 66 Reading, 65 Wanderers, 64 Krugersdorp, 63 Mhlali, 62 Mbombela, and 61 Stellenbosch. Maybe just to mention, Stellenbosch did have the number one 19th hole in the country. But any other comments there? I mean, the ones that stick out from KZN, obviously Mhlali. but other than that, is there anything that you want to shout out there? Wanderers has obviously got a place in everyone's heart. It's quite a sort of institution in Gauteng. But is there anything else that you guys want to raise on that? Maybe Mklali at 63, it's up 4 places.
Yeah, can we give you a quick little rundown of those ones? So Eagle Canyon, terrible. I don't know, I don't rate Eagle Canyon at all. Eagle Canyon, for me, if you can't hit a driver on at least, there's a lot of courses where you shouldn't hit driver, but then there's courses where you can't. And Eagle Canyon's one of those. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it should be below the top 100. Centurion's a great golf course. Reading's decent. Obviously, the conditioning could improve. Wanderers is brilliant. It suits a guy that hits a draw. If you had a fade there, sorry for you. Krugersdorp's got a lot of attraction over the years. And Mhlali always going to struggle with conditioning based on season. So if they've got a lot of rain, it's in phenomenal condition. If they don't have a lot of rain, it struggles. But Mhlali does well for what it has to go through. It sits like in a bowl. I mean, Terence, you would know that. It sits like in a bit of a bowl. If you play Mhlali and you walk Mhlali, you're exhausted afterwards. It's a hard track. But I think it's a good layout for what they had to work with, if I'm honest. There's some holes that don't make sense to some people, like that par 5 where you have to hit a 5-iron and then you have to try and smash a drive off the deck if you want to get up in 2. But yeah, other than that, Mhlali's decent. So that's my take on those ones in a quick point of view. I've never played Stellenbosch, funny enough, but I know that every single person I speak to says it's an experience and you got to go play it.
I think we've got to shout out the fact that Krugersdorp is the highest jump. They're up 12 places from 2023, I think. But Swan, I mean, I've never played Krugersdorp. I don't know if any of you have played Krugersdorp recently, but I think it is worth mentioning that they're the highest jump in the rankings this year.
Ages ago, Jockey. Yeah, so to be honest, I can't comment.
I'll be honest and say it's never been on my bucket list.
Wait till it rises another 12 places, Terence.
But listen, I see that the architect is Bob Grimsdale, and I do like quite a lot of his other courses that he's done. So listen, I may have to sneak it into my list because I'm assuming it's got a good layout. And yeah, again, a course like that, you'll probably find they've just upped their conditioning or something. So put it on the list. I've played Wanderers. I honestly, all of these courses feel like exactly where they should be on the ranking. A lot of these courses to me feel similar. I've played Stellenbosch. Funnily enough, Stellenbosch also has quite a few quirky holes, a bit like Mhlali does. Just some interesting different holes. Yeah, Centurion. I haven't actually played Lost City, but I mean, obviously seen a lot of the photos and that. I'm kind of intrigued at some point to play Umbombela. I've heard it's pretty good. So it could maybe do a little combination of that with a Kruger trip or something. There's also White River just down the road. I don't know if you guys have ever played White River, but that's actually quite a fun little country layout as well. I've won a couple of meat tampers there. Stolen a few off the locals there. So, yeah.
What do you think they'd say at White River if you're like, sorry, I can't accept the meat tamper, I'm a vegan?
No. Wouldn't go down well there. Yeah, you know when you like, I think I got like one of those days where you get like 39 or 40 points, and I was there with Simon, JDV. We were there on work, and they call out your name, and all the members like turn around like and just stare at you. You know, like one oak claps. You know, they're like, bloody visitors coming in here and stealing our meat hampers.
You'd probably find the oak who had got like 37 points or whatever has already told his wife to like put the braai on and the rest of it.
Yeah. Simon said to me, "Hey, listen, we're having one more drink and then we are out of here."
Yeah. You want to be headbutted through a
JDV. I just wanted to check in with your sort of head boy aspirations. How are we doing in terms of this agenda? Because we're an hour in and we are on course number 61.
Terence, in my mind, I'd already split this into 2 parts. So I was like Terence is a absolute wizard at this. You know what I'm going to win the head boy thing for is that we're going to get 2 podcasts out of 1 year, because you're going to cut it at 50 and we're going to say part 2 and then we can
keep people hanging.
Exactly. Be like,
I like that.
Right. Tomorrow the other 50 will come out. So I've sort of resigned myself to the fact that when I put the agenda together that we were stuffed. So probably.
So that means Swan's going to get one. He's going to get 2 hats from the goat track. He's going to get the floppy one and the peak hat.
Yeah.
Because he gets one for each podcast.
Thank you.
Code. Nice.
Does this mean we can't talk about the breakaway Rebel new tour that Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy have started in rebellion?
Yeah, let's quickly digress. And,
that's for hour number 3.
Okay, carry on, Jacques. What do we know?
Let's get this first part of the podcast out the way.
You haven't even raised your bet yet. We haven't even got to 50.
I know. Well, I'm trying to get there within the first hour, because then it makes a good cut at halfway. All right. So number 60, we've got Zabula. 59, we've got San Lemire. 58, Atlantic Beach. 57, Irene. 56, Danefern. 55, Gowrie. 54, Woodhill. 53, The Woods at Mount Edgecombe. 52, Steenberg. And 51, Else Club Copperleaf. Now, just my initial comments. This is why I want to split it into 2 parts. And this little 10-hole stretch or 10-course stretch, we've got San Lemire, Irene, Danefern, Gowrie Farm, The Woods at Mount Edgecombe, which are all ones I think we need to pay some attention to. My thinking here, just to have a look at the guys that have gone up a lot and down a lot. Swannie, Danefern up 8 places. Just a quick story about Danefern, Swan. I don't know if I've told you about this, but my brother and his mate actually dived for golf balls in Danefern once, and both ended up in ICU because they got so sick.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised. I mean, the Yixkay River runs through Danefern, which is, as anyone knows. Yeah. So when you have massive floods there, I mean, I lived in Danefern from 1994. I was 9 years old. I think I left Danefern when I was 23 or whatever. So I know that place pretty well. But yeah, you don't want to be diving for golf balls in any of those rivers or dams. That's idiotic. When the floods come, or the heavy rains come, let's rather say, I mean, they literally get a team of about 150 people to come and clean up the rubbish that has just dispersed itself all over the banks of the rivers. So, you work that out. But Jockey, do you want me to quickly fly through my opinion on a few of these?
Look. I mean, I'll let you get in there now. I think the big one that I wanted to mention was obviously Danefern making quite a big jump. There was a lot of discussion about Atlantic Beach in there, sort of coming back from the drought that Cape Town had. I know that it had dropped substantially and it's slowly climbing its way back up. Atlantic Beach is not everyone's cup of tea. I think there's Fynbos all over the show, so you sort of slightly offline with blind tee shots and you're dead. I played quite nicely at Atlantic Beach, actually, surprisingly, and I think the only reason I did that was because I didn't know how much shit I was playing into half the time and just like swung hard at it. And I was like, wow, that's an aggressive line. And I was like, shit, is it? That's what you told me to hit it. But yeah, I mean, again, Terence, speaking to your point about playability, well, maybe not speaking to the point, but it's amazing how much you like a golf course based on how well you play on the day. And I think Atlantic Beach for me is one of those golf courses where I had a good round and I'm like, yeah, Atlantic Beach is a sweet golf course. Just as easily I could have shot 100 and be like, it's the cuckest golf course I've ever played. But yeah, I think the big one is the other one that we play quite a lot, obviously, is in Gauteng is Irene. I really like Irene as a golf course in that area. For me, a lot of the Gauteng golf courses sort of all mold into one sort of parkland variation of another. And Irene seems to have some quite interesting quirks about it, which separates it from other Gauteng courses. And San Lemire is still climbing the rankings, up one from number 60 last year, but still up quite a lot from where it was a while ago. Terence, I'm not sure what it was in 2018, but I know it did have a quite a big fall at one stage, and good to see it on the rise again. So that's My
It was
comments.
61.
I'm leaving. Okay, so maybe not such a massive rise from 2018. Maybe it's done a bit of a boomerang, but I'm leaving Gowrie Farm to you, Terence. I know you're going to have something to say about the fact that Gowrie's at 55.
Well, firstly, little surprised Zabula is this high up. To be honest with you, it's fine. It's it's at the Bushveld and that. I didn't find it particularly memorable, or I mean, its playability is okay, but I mean, if I look at some of the courses that are a little lower down, bit surprised about that. San Lemire, to be honest for you, I would put it in the same category. Not a I'm not a huge San Lam guy, but perhaps this is more my own subjectiveness, but maybe a couple of tough days that I've had there. So playability for me at San Lam has been a bit tough. Atlantic Beach it's a place I really want to go back to because I think the playability there, a lot of it that comes down to is just because the wind absolutely thumps there. I mean, it is probably one of the windiest rounds of golf I've ever played in my life. But I would really love to go back there because I think it's in an interesting sort of location, and from what I remember, the land and that was like very interesting. Look, Gowrie, I almost have to be you almost have to be sure that this was done on sort of the old course.
It was done on. Sorry, Terence. Just to interrupt there. It was done on the old course, and when they were struggling with the greens, I think they killed the greens at one stage, which I do think had a big impact on it, and it certainly hasn't taken into account the renovations.
So I'm surprised that they didn't sort of withdraw themselves from the ranking, just given what they're busy doing. So, look, I don't want to dwell on it too much because I know you guys think that I'm very biased there, but I expect to see Gowrie move up significantly. Let's just say that I'm not going to make any too bold predictions. I think there's an interesting Gowrie Cotswold competition coming down the line. Spoiler alert: I think Gowrie's going to win that one, but the rest of the clubs are all feel fine to me. I do want to just shout out the Woods at MECC. I think to me that's like a top 50 course. So I'm surprised it's not maybe a little bit higher. Also, just to say that I love the fact that, and I took a picture of this earlier today, that when you when you go onto the Woods, when you go onto the SA Top 100 website, the picture for the Woods is oh, you can't see. That's a terrible photo. But the picture for the Woods is of the massive lake, like on at that par 3. And it's not easy for people to remember like which one is the Woods and which one is the lakes. But I'm pretty sure the Woods will squeeze its way up a bit higher than that. It's a nice layout.
So Terence, my one comment there is Gowrie will probably overtake Cotswold and a number of other courses. But Gowrie for me is a bit like Oscar bait, where they talk about like Oscar bait movies where they're like, oh my word, it's, a certain actor with a certain director with some throwback to like old school movies and like a bit self-aware and dealing with some controversial topic. And it's just like calling for an Oscar nomination and probably going to be win the best picture. And everyone's like, oh yeah, it's great. For me, Gowrie, and I love Gowrie, don't get me wrong, but it will be high in the rankings because it's like Oscar bait for golf courses. It's like, oh, it's a throwback to old golf, and we play it as it lies, and all of the road holes and the rest of it. Like I get it, it is very cool, but I'm sort of going to concede the Cotswold Gowrie rivalry, which will happen in the decades. But I am going to throw out a little Oscar bait jab on my way out of there.
Sure. No, I look. I think as I said to you, having played those new holes and stuff at Gowrie recently, I think they are going to be fairly polarizing. I think some people are going to like them. they are going to be quite. They're very unique. I mean, and some people may find maybe they might call them a bit gimmicky. I don't know. I personally don't think they are. And I think what hopefully what will shine through Jacques is talking about things like conditioning and playability, which are things that like Gary has always been, the original Gary was always known for, really good greens. You could play a whole round there sometimes without losing a golf ball. Challenging course, but scoreable as well. And I think that those things will continue with the new holes. I do think it's going to take some time though. It takes a long time for these new builds to settle in. So I mean, I think you need to give Gary 2 or 3 years before probably sort of having a final judge on it. But it is quite funky.
So just on that point, Terence, on some of the funky points of it, and listening to Dale Hayes and yours conversation from last week, where you discussed Gary and the reason why there isn't placing on the fairways, and maybe I'm playing into the Oscar bait here, but Gary and golf is not meant to be fair. And you meant to, it's a bit of a test of character when you do get a bad break. Particularly around the bunkers, with some of those tufts of grass, you can get some pretty tough lies out there. My stepdad, Ken, who we play a lot of golf with, he hates Gary. His major point is, he's like, why would I want to play Gary? I hit it slightly offline, and I don't hit a bunker, I hit a hole in the ground, which I thought was quite classic.
a waste area.
Yeah. But again, it's just, I suppose, like a lot of these things, how sometimes, what you like and what is adjudged to be good architecture or good conditioning or what gets rewarded is not everyone's cup of tea. And sometimes it is in the eye of the beholder. And the top courses might not ever be everyone's cup of tea, and they want to play sort of more open, parkland layout. And sorry, I'm just making this monologue because it's quite a nice transition into part 2, which is the next 50. But yeah, I think that is an important thing to keep in mind with all of these rankings. Is it is set to a specific criteria, but not to everyone's liking.
The next 50.
Hi, this is Dale Hayes, and you're listening to The Goat Track.
But Jacques, I've got a few things I want to say about these 60 to 50s, but not a lot. I'm going to have So, 60 to 51. Zabula, I couldn't agree more with you, Terence. That's like, I don't know what it's doing there, to be honest. There's nothing more than, look, it's beautiful. You see some giraffe walking over your ball, probably kicking it onto the green and whatever. That's a cool part of it. San Lemia, I agree with you. San Lemia, I think it was it Bobby Lincoln? Does anybody know Bobby Lincoln? Do you remember Bobby Lincoln? He was a great South African golfer. Go Google him after this. So he actually said San Lemia.
Bobby Locke.
No, not Bobby Locke. No. Bobby Lincoln. So yeah, South African guy, really, really good golfer. So he actually said San Lemia is a Mickey Mouse golf course. This was back in the day. Can you imagine what he got slated for saying that? But anyway, so those are his words. It stuck with me because we actually knew him pretty well. Atlantic Beach, I've never played. Irene's really, really good. Dane Fern's phenomenal. Probably should be top 5 in the country. I'm not sure why it's not. The reason why it's moved up 8 places, I'll tell you guys a little bit inside scoop there. So about 3 months ago, it was terrible, like shocking. Members were moaning. You can just imagine the Dane Fern people complaining. I mean, they complain about everything, and I'm being honest now. You can just imagine them complaining about the fact that their course was not in the top 30. And then they put a lot of pressure on Golf Data. So Golf Data actually looks after Dane Fern, and yeah, they've raised their game. Gary, brilliant. Gary's a phenomenal layout. I disagree with Jacques, where he's like, this whole story of you don't want that whole authentic view, but I think that's what makes Gary exceptionally unique in South Africa, and that is why it will raise its value. Woods is brilliant. I've already touched on that. Else Copperleaf, I think it's hosted from opening. I think it's hosted more Sunshine Tour events than any other golf course from opening. So yeah. Anyway, move on to the next.
It's a place that I'm really keen to go check out. Actually, Jacques at JDV. I think we need to put Copperleaf on our long list of Gauteng courses that we haven't played, which is growing. We need to have like a monthly trip up there.
Well, I was going to say, I mean,
have you played there, Jacques?
I haven't played Copperleaf, no, but I was saying that it is one of the things that we discussed, Swannie, and we'll probably get you back on for the golf tour pod. But how underrated Gauteng is for golf tours in South Africa. But that's a story for another day. I like to start the next 50, gentlemen, 50 to 41. I'm just going to run through them. You're not going to guess. On. Yeah. You are not going to.
Let's go.
You're not going to guess which course I'm going to spend too much time on in this next 10. We're going 50 to 41 here. So we've got at number 50, Cotswold Downs. Number 49, Modderfontein. Yeah, you caught it, Swan. It's Modderfontein. That's what I'm going to spend all my time on. Number 48, Clovelly. Number 47, Kalahari. Number 46, Plettenberg Bay. Number 45, Wingate Park. Number 44, Makofle. Number 43, Serengeti. Number 42, Wild Coast. And number 41, Abotsi Links. We are really getting into the business end here. There's a number of courses that I want to talk about. Abotsi for me is a goodie. I love the fact that they've rehabilitated a mine to become a sort of a linksy course. The Abotsi, have you been to Abotsi before? The housing development is a bit strange. There's like 0 architectural guidelines. The guys have like Italian like roofs next to some new modern monolith. It's quite trippy. So
it sounds like the biggest. It sounds like the biggest turn off ever.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Jy moet die taal praat. Jy moet die taal praat. Jy kan,
but yeah, I mean, obviously, let's start at number 50 here. Cotswold Downs. My home course. With VCC, but obviously Cotswold becoming more and more my home course at the moment than VCC. Love Cotswold Down. It's up 2 places from number 52. Great to see it into the top 50. Just, I don't know. There's not much more. We've spoken a lot about it. Clovelly for me is an absolute gem of a course.
Wait. You can't stop there. So are you satisfied with where Cotswold is, Jacques? And where's Cotswold going to get to? Is this the ceiling?
So, Terence, it's tough. It's better than Umdoni Park, I think, in terms of 79, where you pin it. So it should be above 79. Look, it's above Gowrie at the moment. Like I said, if you're going to take an over under of whether it's going to be higher than Gowrie in the next 5 years, I'm going to have to concede it's probably going to be below Gowrie. I don't know. Like I think there's a lot of courses ahead of Cotswold that I think it's a lot better than, like objectively, and it's tough to say objectively because it's a very subjective thing. But at the same time, I do see courses below it where I'm like, that's pretty good. But I think it's on par. Like Arini. I don't want to say it, but like a Gowrie, like the Woods at Mount Edgecombe. So, I scratched my head a bit. I think it would be good to sort of go back into the top 100 and see exactly where it ranked in each of it. But I think it's a bit of a deep dive for this podcast. So 50, I'm not happy, Terence. I think it should be higher, but at the same time, I understand why it is where it is. Long answer to a short question.
Can I just say something? So Jacques, I think what you may be forgetting there momentarily is that the way they rate it. So playability, in my opinion, Cotswold, it's not an easy track. You go as there's a mid-handicap golfer to 15 to 20 odd, you're going to struggle. Like you'll play all right, but I mean, you've got to think about what you're doing. And if you're not thinking about pretty much most of your shots, you're going to struggle. So I think that's the reason why Cotswolds. I think from a conditioning point of view, Cotswolds good. Don't get me wrong. I think it's really good. I think they've done well building it, not really on a old mine dump, but they built it in a quarry, right? Is that right?
No, they built it on sugarcane.
Okay. Someone sold me the wrong story.
It was the Botsy that was built on the mine dump. Shit, I hope there's no old mine dumps out here.
No, not a mine dump. Anyway, whatever. Some strange layout. That's why they got that massive par 3 where that I got a hole in one and then slipped the ball out his sleeve or some story. But anyway, those are the type of members you get at Cotswold. Let's move on to the rest. Let's move on to the shock.
So
just a
Terence,
parting thoughts on Cotswold.
Yeah, I wanted to see if you
just a parting thought on Cotswold. So it's interesting because I see it was like in the top 40. It was like 37 in 2018, and I don't know. Like the last time I was there, I mean, I know you play there often. Conditioning was really good. I think they could do a little bit of redesign of some of the holes to make them a bit less gimmicky. I think particularly like that big downhill par 3, even the next hole, the 6th hole. I mean, you and I have spoken about that one. So I think there's probably 5 or 6 holes there that they could do a little bit of work, which may bump them up. That may get you guys into like sort of maybe 30 to 40 range.
Yeah, the 10th is a tough scene. The 10th,
it's just a side.
The 10th is tough.
The 10th is tough, yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Other than Cotswold, I mean, we've got some other big notables here. I was saying Clovelly for me is one of my favorite courses in the Western Cape. I think it's a hidden gem. It's also a very short, quirky layout. Other than that, Wingate is...
Makofle?
I haven't played... We've been to Makofle. I haven't played Makofle, so I'm going to reserve judgment there. Plettenberg Bay always sort of, I feel, punches above its weight. Very nicely conditioned, interesting layout. I cannot believe that Plettenberg Bay is above Cotswold because it's got... Well, I don't know if they still have it. Swannie, maybe you or Terence can correct me, but they used to have like literally a mat that you tee off for one of the holes. And if you are teeing off a mat and you're higher than Cotswold Downs, then I'm a bit upset. It's that one hole with a huge oak tree or one of the big trees. It's a big dogleg left that you can probably drive the green and you tee off a mat in the bush. So yeah, I've got my issues there. And then Wild Coast at 42. We've discussed Wild Coast and its sort of trials and tribulations. Swan, what do you think?
Are you sure at Plettenberg Bay? Are you sure at Plet that you hadn't like wandered off into like the nearest campsite and you were like accidentally hitting off like some oaks?
Some oaks.
I was going to say,
you're supposed to pitch his tent. I don't remember that either.
Yeah, I think you might have to either edit that, Jacques, or retract.
No, I'm gonna stand by it. I guarantee I played off a mat at one stage because they couldn't grow grass on the one tee box.
That's when the space cake had fully kicked in.
No, Plet's a good track. Plet's a good track.
My only comment is I reckon a Clovelly members would be a bit upset to be below a course that's built on a mine dump with like zero architectural fee. If you swap those two around, I don't think there'd be too many objections from third parties. We've spoken about Wild Coast. I mean, it's I totally agree with Swan what he said earlier. For me, it's always been one of my favorite layouts. I think it's a great design, and yeah, I honestly don't know what the answer is, but it's obviously a conditioning thing. But yeah, it's pretty sad. It would be nice to see it back, sort of in at least the sort of top 30. That's kind of where it deserves to be, given its location, given the layouts. It's a conditioning thing.
Are there any other courses in South Africa that were designed by Robert Trent Jones Jr. besides Wild Coast?
Yeah, that's a good question. No,
I think I don't think so. Huh? But
it's quite unique.
We can have a look into that.
Swan, do you know if there's
just Makofle? So Yeah, sorry, Karen.
I was just saying, do you know of any other courses that were designed by Charles Botino Murray other than Clavelli?
No. It's a good question, Jacques. But Robert Trent Jones Jr. has a little bit more.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so I know
bit
I
more
know you're
bones.
too old to know where you're going with this, but so McCoflay, obviously you boys didn't play on the amateur scene, but McCoflay was one of the like top qualifying courses for SA Amateur for a long time. Remarkable golf course. You had to have a hell of a drive to get there, and it was quite a thing. I mean, I remember the one year we arrived there and the greens were rock solid because it was so cold. They were frozen. You literally couldn't putt. We had to wait until about 9 o'clock to tee off. So McCoflay goes, like, in terms of South African golf, it goes a long way back. It's definitely worth a drive to go and play, in my opinion. I think it's cool. It's a little treat. The Schwartzel boys come from that area as well. Just FYI, little insight. Yeah, so that's. I think that's all I have to say really about those courses.
Okay, let's move on to the next.
So interestingly enough,
sorry, Terence.
nice try, Jacques. Interestingly enough, we had like a golf goals podcast earlier in the year, Swannie, and I had 3 courses that are sort of random courses that I put on there that I wanted to play, and one of them was McCoflay, and the other one was Clavelli, actually, funnily enough. So they're both on that list. I see my third course didn't quite make the top 100. Not surprisingly.
What was that?
Jacques? Kamas.
Yes.
Okay.
And still haven't played it. And we're in May already.
But you,
Although
but
I did
you
make
had
it to the pub.
You had a lunch.
I've had
there,
a few beers. I've had a few beers in the yeah. But
we can go, Terence. We can go and play that course. No, we got a place on the south coast. Pull in. We'll go and have a round there.
Okay.
All right, guys. Number 40 to number 31. Let's do it. Number 40 is Hermanus, 39 Royal Cape, 38 Eye of Africa, 37 Rand Park Firethorn, 36 Parkview, 35 Victoria, 34 Bryanston. Yeah, poor Bryanston. 33 Princess Grant, 32 Kalami, and 31 Peakenwood. Terence, you take us away on your comments on those 10.
Yeah, Jacques, not a lot of comments. Hermanus is interesting because it's 27 holes there. So if I'm correct, so I'd be interested to know if there's a primary like kind of routing that they look at there. Super cool. I've only played 18 out of the 27, but you can play them in different combinations, and very fun place. Still haven't played Royal Cape. That's a big one missing for me. I played Bryanston for the first time last year. Really enjoyed it. Really fun course. Like, found it pretty playable, challenging, but like a fun. Had like for a first time place to play. Had a really good layout, and I think their halfway house Shark is like in the top 5 in the country. So nice little selection of snacks there. Pretty stoked to see Princess Grant move up as much as it has. I'm a pretty big Princess Grant's fan, but it has gone through some issues with like conditioning, and I know they had some issues with their greens and that. The last time I played there in like early December, it was really in good nick. It was probably the best nick I've seen it in, and it's cool to see that kind of translate into. I think it was one of the highest movers. So that kind of sums up my comments. Still haven't played Kyle Army or Peakenwood, so I can't really say too much about those two. I believe Kyle Army is really good though as well.
Yeah, I think for me the sorry, Swan, go ahead.
Kyle Army, Kyle Army it's a flipping good golf course. That course in winter, so I mean, I play a lot of golf there as well, being quite relatively close to Dainfern. All the greens are like upside down saucers, and in winter they're rock hard. So I just remember that course being something that if you're not approaching the green with anything 8 iron or lower, you got issues. so it like forced your hand to hit a lot of drivers off the tee and things like that. Really good golf course. It's sad to see that it's come down so much. I don't know what's happened. I haven't played there in a long time. Sorry, that's just a bit about Kalahari. Princess Grant, I agree with you. Great track, but from a playability point of view, it's a challenge. That's a tough golf course. Doesn't matter what tee you go off, but you can play off ladies' tees. On a windy day, you're gonna have it in for yourself.
Yeah, it's a good point, and it's probably what it's going to keep it sort of where it is. It can be. You can have a long day there if things are not going well off the tee box.
Yeah. I have a McCoflay story to tell you, but I don't know if you want to add that in
an appendix. Go for it. Hit us.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. So I'll tell you the McCoflay story, and you can chuck it into the McCoflay when I've kind of finished. I'll just add this there. So anyway, so McCoflay, I played an SA amateur qualifier there, and this was to obviously play to win the best SA amateur in South Africa stroke play event held at Pearl Valley. So we went out, obviously, as we do as youngsters, the night before, had a massive jaw. I think I got to bed at about 3 a.m. I had to wake up at 5 o'clock, something like that, for my mate to pick me up, Ryan Clark, who was quite a good amateur in his day as well. I mean, we were playing with Ati Schwartzel and those kind of boys. We were playing with Dylan Fatelli. There's a bunch of names that were really good golfers. Anyway, so I got to bed at 3. Alarm never went off. Panic stations, picked me up. Long story short, got into the car, half packed. Got to McCoflay. I think I wasn't wearing any socks. I had no socks on. I just was wearing golf shoes with no socks. I hadn't brushed my teeth. I hadn't had a shower. I was in complete disarray. Anyway, my mate said to me, "No, just like the only thing that's going to make you feel better right now is if you go and brush your teeth." So I said, "Cool." So off I went, brushed my teeth in the change room, came back. He didn't tell me to put socks on. I mean, this is 36 holes, just by the way. Okay. I'd packed nothing. I literally had packed nothing. I think I had a pair of tracksuit pants, those old school ones that were like, the ones you wore for back in school. They were made of like that nylon material. Yes. Terrible things. Yeah, that inner white kind of
on the
fabric.
Inside,
so I wore.
Outside.
Yes, that's it. So that's literally what I packed, and I think I had a golf shirt for the next day, and that was me. So, truth Bob, I played with Donnie van Tonda. You know Donnie van Tonda? Sure, you know Donnie van Tonda. So I played with Donnie. So Donnie's dad used to follow him on every single event that he played, and I think he did it quite a bit on the Sunshine till Donnie decided, no, it's time for his dad to go, and he's rather going to get his wife to caddy for him, his girlfriend or whatever. Anyway, so Donnie was my playing partner. There I am, no shoes. Off I go.
Tracky bum bums. Were you wearing tracky bum bums?
No, I wasn't wearing trackies. Those were for the night because we had to stay the night.
Okay.
We stayed the night. This is 36, so that's a 72-hole event. So, I remember the first tee shot on McCoflay. I duck hooked it left straight into the tree. Anyway, I think I made double. Long story short, finished off shooting level par on the first 18. I shot 1 under in the second 18. Anyway, I had a reasonably good night, managed to find some socks or whatever, and then shot level par 1 over and made the SA amateur qualifier with about 2 hours sleep on that day. So that's pretty much my story. Donnie's dad was hilarious, chirping him on everything, him flicking him in Afrikaans the whole way around the round. Yeah, it was quite an experience. But went to Pearl Valley to play this SA amateur event. Pretty stoked. I mean, no one really expected me to qualify, but I did. And I think I shot 90. Are we going to get to Pearl Valley? I think I shot 94. 36 holes as well. 94, 89, something like that. I just got, and I was like, well, geez, I did a lot of effort to get here, but I made very, very little. Yeah. And like the funny thing was, the whole point of the story, I've actually forgotten because I had too much wine. The whole point was that I'd prepared terribly for McCoflay, and I prepared beautifully for Pearl Valley. and the
Yeah,
score
I was
difference
gonna
was
say-
astronomical.
I was going to say, you should have followed exactly the same routine,
Yeah.
you know.
Drag
Gone
you down
out
the-
in Stellenbosch. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Gone to the terrace. But the thing I took away from that story was how your mate said the only thing that's going to make you feel better, and then immediately in my mind I was thinking is
And,
like
and
have a beer.
Yeah.
Was to brush your teeth, which is not something that any of my mates have ever suggested.
Yeah. Just go brush your teeth.
Yes. Yeah, you'll feel hundreds.
Obviously,
he's obviously right.
From Fourways to Makofla, it's about an hour and a half. So obviously, it wasn't a very pleasant car trip.
I was going to say, I don't think that was the only thing that
was.
was going to make you feel better. It's the only thing that was going to make your mate feel better was you brushing your teeth.
Did you have someone caddying for you? Was he caddying for you, or were you carrying it? Were you carrying your own?
No. He was playing. He made it. He was
playing.
He was good. He was like top 3 or something. But
okay.
No, I think I had a caddy. I definitely got a caddy. Yeah. Absolutely got a caddy. There was no way I was going to carry my clubs.
Sure. No, that's a cool story,
gentlemen. Let's quickly pump through 30 to 21 here. At number 30, we've got Houghton. 29, we've got De Zalze. 28, we've got Royal Johannesburg West. 27, CCJ Rocklands. 26, Ehrenvale. 25, Fancourt Outeniqua. 24, Pretoria Country Club. 23, CCJ Woodmead. 22, George. 21, Samola. Swan, do you want to start us off with your Ehrenvale story?
Yeah. Okay. So, like, I'd never played Ehrenvale until last year, when everyone told me Ehrenvale's remarkable, it's incredible, you got to play Ehrenvale, it's one of the best golf courses out there. And Jacques, half the reason why you asked me to join you guys is because I've played a lot of golf courses. And that doesn't mean anything. It just means I've played a lot of golf courses. So whether you like my opinion or not, that's cool. But for me, Ehrenvale was, I don't know, it just didn't, like the 1-9 is like there. And then the other 9's got some exciting holes and it's really cool. But it didn't blow my hair back. It didn't hit me like other golf courses do. I don't know. I found Ehrenvale relatively, I don't want to say average. It was amazing. Don't get me wrong. Hospitality was good. Clubhouse was good. Hosts were good. I mean, I know the golf director there very well. He actually coached me golf, Julian Shaw. But just the layout and all of that, I don't know, didn't do it for me. I don't know about you.
Where would you say Ehrenvale should be, Swan? I mean, if it's 26 at the moment, I mean, if you were to look at a comparable course that you think it's similar to, maybe around 50 exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the Woods at Mount Edgecombe is a better layout in my opinion. Yeah, I think, I don't know, Jacques. Look, it's probably in the right place, to be honest. I think it's just me being me. Yeah, like it's a good course, but it didn't blow my hair back. I don't know where it should be. Maybe let's put it at 39.
Okay. Terence, I mean, I think just having a look at the big movers in this 10, we've got Samola down 5. We've got De Zalze up 5. Royal J&K West up 5. So there's quite a couple of big movers here. What are your thoughts about that 30 to 21 bracket?
Yeah, I think in this space, sort of 21 to 40, even to 50, it's, if you look at the scores, you're talking about like 0.1 of a decimal here between, there's like 2 or 3 points can cost you like 30 places in the ranking. So I think these are all obviously really solid and great golf courses. There's a number here, particularly in the Southern Cape, that I unfortunately haven't played. I just want to give a shout out to Houghton. It's funny going through this list. Houghton was one of the first courses I played in Johannesburg when I was like a teenager, and I remember we went and watched. They had like they used to have I feel like they had an annual tournament there every year. I know they're back there with like the DP World Tour, but there was a tournament that used to happen there, and a friend of mine used to live on the course. And whenever I think of Houghton, I always think about the fact that on the Sunday night after the tournament, we jumped over his fence and went and stole one of the flags from the nearby green.
I'll let Saps know.
It's like a standout memory for me. De Zalze is cool. Enjoyed playing there. I like both the courses at Royal Joburg. I think they're awesome. It's interesting to see how far apart they are in the rankings, because I think the East course is better, but it's can be a bit difficult unless you play there a lot to sort of differentiate between them. Have to give a shout out to a friend of mine, and what I assume he is a new will be a new listener to this podcast, I'm sure, as of this evening. It's also his birthday, which is my mate Smelly, but he's a member at CCJ, and I just spent 3 days with him in the Kruger, and he was regaling me with tales of how wonderful CCJ is, and telling me intricate differences between Rocklands and Woodmead, and he's starting to get deep into his golf course design and architecture takes and that. So really cool to see a friend who's getting into it. But I think he'll be stoked that both his courses are in the top 30. Pretoria Country Club, JDV, we said, I think earlier in our goals podcast, that's on our bucket list for a trip up there. Haven't done that one. So that's me.
Yeah, I just want to firstly shout out for the guys who have the Go Track Bingo open. The first time Terence mentioned Regale since the 10 times he mentioned it in the podcast with Dale Hayes. So you can tick that one off.
Yeah.
But no,
that is what Dale does, though. Dale regales,
He does.
It's the tales from Dale.
That should be the story of his autobiography. Should be Dale Hayes, Dale regales.
Yeah. Exactly.
But let's go to the top 20. Some very good ones here. Obviously, we've got the only 2 KZN courses in the top 20, which are between 20 and 10. We've got Champagne Sports at number 20, 19 Highland Gate, 18 Pazula, 17 Gary Player Country Club, 16 Zimbali, 15 Humewood, 14 The Club at Stain City, 13 Elements, 12 Royal J&K East, and 11 Pinnacle Point. Some of the notables here, we've got Champagne Sports up 7, which is massive. Gary Player Country Club down 5, and Gary Player Country Club down a lot more than 5, as we mentioned, from where it used to be. Humewood down 6. It was a top 10 course. I'm surprised. I love Humewood. I think it deserves a place in the top 10, unless I'm missing something. Pinnacle Point up 4 to 11, which is interesting. I know, Swannie, you've also got your strong views on Pinnacle Point. Other than that, obviously Zimbali, top ranked KZN course at number 16, up 2 places from number 18. Guys, thoughts? Let's start with Swan.
Okay. So let's go to the top. Let's go to Pinnacle Point, which is it's 11, eh? So for me, Pinnacle Point, it's beautiful. Well done. I mean, if I want to go and look at a view, then I'll go look at a view. You know what I mean? There's many places in South Africa that you can go and have a wonderful view. Seriously, I can go and sit in my brother's place in Sea Point and I've got an incredible view. But if I want to go play golf, I'm not going to go to Pinnacle Point. Bottom line. I think Pinnacle Point shouldn't even be on the rankings, I'm being brutally honest. I don't think it should be there. It's not a golf course. It's a picturesque place to go and lovely, lovely, check the whales in the distance and whatever. Shark's obviously left because he feels differently about it. Pinnacle Point, no, not for me personally. Royal Joburg East, incredible. Everyone knows this. If you're a golfer, you'll know it's a great track. And exactly what you're saying, Terence, there's not much difference between East and West. The only difference is the one course longer than the other. That's really what it is. Which is what makes East really good from a professional perspective, because you can push the pros, and that's why it gets attraction. It used to have, I don't think it has anymore, it used to have the 2 longest back-to-back par 4s in the world, which was 10 and 11. Stand to be corrected, but I think that's changed now. So I don't think 10 and 11 are still the the longest back-to-back par fours at East. Elements is phenomenal. It deserves to be in the top 20. It's an incredible golf course. They look after it well. The layout's remarkable. Like everything to do with Elements is really, really good. It's got the nature scene. What Makovich has done there is brilliant. I mean, the one year we played there, we were playing on 18 and we teed off. It's at par 5. You can't really see the layup area. We hit our drives. We got down to our drives and there was a kill just before the water hazard on 18. I mean, it's unreal. Like there was no lion or whatever eating it, but there was an animal that was dead there that from a night before kill. And that's what you get at Elements.
Or from a golf cart that had hit it accidentally or something, and they've been like, check that kill.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, Fiji
Or they pull it out
there.
They pull it out of the freezer for the tourists.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
check how amazing this course is. Like.
Anything possible from the tourists from Joburg.
No, but I like just it's funny you talk about that hole because I'm just actually like remembering that hole now. Like playing, I've only played there once, and you know, Jacques, when we did our KZN par 5s, we spoke about how Makovich, one of his sort of signatures is to have like a very interesting 18th hole as a par 5. Correct me if I'm wrong, Swan, but from what I understand, a lot of his courses finish with like a challenging, interesting par 5, and that in particular is a really, really cool finishing hole. So I personally I struggled a bit with the playability there as a first timer, so I would like to go back, but everything else was, I mean, it was leaps and bounds ahead of Zabula, which we sort of played kind of back to back.
Yeah,
so
it is.
I'm having another drive by Zabula, but like it, I really like Zabula, and it's got one of the best clubhouses, I must say. Like in terms of atmosphere and like vibe at the bar and stuff afterwards, and the locals there were awesome. But yeah, I mean, wasn't definitely not the same league as Elements.
No, it isn't. It isn't at all. Yeah, I mean, Jacques, other than that, we've spoken about, we haven't really spoken about Stain City. Stain City's good. I just want to see what else has interests me. Yeah, Humid's brilliant. I mean, it's a true links. Zimbali's brilliant, guys. Like, a lot of folks say it isn't, but I think Zimbali's excellent. Like, it's a brilliant layout. Conditioning is always good. It doesn't use bent grass. They don't use bent grass greens, which most KZN courses do, like Simbiti does. It's brilliant. It's a good track. You get a test there. I think playability can be tough. Gary Player Country Club. That's sad to see where they are. Eh? I mean, Jacques, lower than what's going on there?
So my question, Swannie, is do you agree that Zimbali now is the top KZN course in South Africa?
Sure. Look, I always rated Cotswold very high. Mix in there, but I think Zimbali. I'm trying to think what else is out there.
I mean, it's Champagne Sports is Champagne Sports is the other one that's trying to take it. So essentially, I mean, obviously we're looking
Zimbali deserves to be there.
Look, Durban Country Club is going to swoop in and take that honor. Let's be honest. But
absolutely.
Let's be honest.
But at the moment, I mean, we're fighting for second place here between Champagne and Zimbali, and actually VCC. But
no, Zimbali.
Okay, let's move on to the next, the top 10 here. Number 10.
Just to say, sorry, Jacques. Just one thing. I think, from what I understand, and having played there fairly recently in the last 12 to 18 months, a couple of times, PE had like they've been through a serious drought in the last 3 to 4 years.
This is Humewood,
and Humewood has definitely suffered as a result of that. The last time I was there, the fairways were really looking a bit patchy and that. So I think you'll probably find a lot of that drop has got to do with that conditioning side. And as that cycle changes, I mean, I expect it to see it closer to the top 10.
Humid reminds me a lot, Terence, of Mdoni to a degree, where it's always like it's got that kind of feel to it, that rough feel. if you know what I'm trying to say. I don't know. That's for me. It's like you say, it's a great track, and unfortunately, it requires the resources to make it work.
Gents, top 10. Here we go. Number 10, East London, up 3 from 13. So East London cracking it into the top 10. Sishen cracking it into the top 10, up 5 from 14. Glendower sticking at 8. Fancourt Montague down 2. Pearl Valley down 3 at number 6. Number 5, we've got my pick for the SA Open, Arabella. Then we've got number 4, we've got Blair Athol up 2 places from number 6 last time. St. Francis Lynx at number 3. The Lynx at Fancourt at number 2. And then number 1, Leopard Creek. So the big ones here, we've got St. Francis moving up 1 from number 4 to number 3. The Lynx, former number 1, remains in second place, and Leopard Creek, number 1 for a second consecutive year. Terence, your thoughts on the top 10?
Yeah, I think the top 10 is very much split into 2 different categories, right? I think there's 5 golf courses in there which I don't think you'll ever see probably drop out of the top 10, and those are obviously near the kind of sharper end. Very stoked to see East London in the top 10. I really love that layout, and honestly a little surprised to see it in the top 10, just because the last time I was there, it was also looking a little shaggy, but obviously they've dealt, perhaps whether it was drought or whatever when I was there, but it's a really, really great layout. I mean, it's comparable to parts of DCC in ways. Parts of it are even wilder than like some parts of DCC. It really is a super cool, fun layout. I mean, I think the parakeets at Glendower have kept it out of the top 5. I mean, that needs to be said. Jacques, I can't. There's a couple of these courses that I haven't played, and there's a couple that I think you really are splitting hairs. The one kind of interesting note I had, was that there's only, I assume that these points that they've given them is out of 100. Is that right, Jacques? I mean, the total mark is out of 100.
Yeah.
So is it a bit like damning on our golf that the top course in South Africa is only at like 82.8 out of 100? Like, is that a bit, like, does that not seem a bit odd? Like, should we, like, and this speaks now to and so there's only 8 courses that got essentially better than 80%. Okay. I don't know what you guys think. Is it, like, does it make you think that maybe there's a bit of an issue with like the way they do this ranking? The courses seem very compressed in, like, we're talking about like decimals of places. It was just a note that I had. You would expect, if you're comparing courses relatively to each other, you'd expect at least 1 or 2 courses to be, in the sort of 90s.
Well, Terence, sorry, before you carry on this one, on that point, I mean, conditioning, you can get 20 points for conditioning, right? The best conditioning in South Africa was the Lynx at Fancourt, and they got 16.7. So I hear what you're saying there is like, it's pretty tough that the best conditioning in South Africa doesn't even get 17 out of 20.
What are you comparing
I don't know.
Have you
I'm not a statistician,
Well, that's it. So maybe that's what the. I mean, is Augusta like 19 out of 20, and then how does the Lynx at Fancourt compare to Augusta? I don't know.
Well, they say that's why the greens at Noordsburg are so good, is because those Germans don't actually use a mower. They go down their hands and knees and use scissors to cut their greens.
Well, is it Germans that do it?
Well, that's predominantly.
So let's the other ones, the other notables there. I mean, you've talked about East London. My big one is maybe some of the ones that Sishen, Swannie, have you played Sishen? Do you know much about Sishen? I mean, it's up 5 places to from number 14.
I haven't. Have you guys played there?
No, it's a proper blind
you
spot.
know Sishen's real name is
No.
the Kalahari course.
Okay.
You do know that, eh? Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, you got to pretty much go there to play it. Got to go to the Kalahari to play Sishen. But I'm pretty keen. So Jacques, if we are going to do a golf tour there, we got to do it, and we want to have 3 rounds of golf. We're probably going to play at Sishen 3 times.
Yeah.
But go Google it, do a little Google there, check out the photos of Sishen. It looks amazing. It's like it's an oasis in the desert. So I'd love to go play there, but I can't say much about it.
Yeah, look, I mean, the other ones that stick out for me.
It's Kalahari Country Club. Yeah,
That's what it is.
Spot on.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Sishen is the mine.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Next door.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah, listen, tough golf tour. You'd need to look at combining it with 9 holes in Kuruman, maybe. And then Hot as Hell is just around the corner, so you could maybe get onto their sand-based greens. But or you could just play 3 rounds at Sishen.
But surely you're impressed.
Yes, it'll be fun though.
But you're impressed that Sishen makes it into the top 10 and is climbing and is like not helped at all by any other courses in its area except for the ones in Hot as Hell.
No, it's amazing. Like I say, it's an oasis. It's incredible.
Again, I mentioned
maybe when you get there, you just sorry, Terence, carry on.
Sorry, I mentioned it earlier. Architect Bob Grimsdale. You see his name pop up all over South Africa. There's no denying that that's got a big reason for the course being up there. It was built, it was designed and laid out a long time ago, and obviously it's a great layout. And I mean, clearly, I guess with the economic activity in the area being that big fuck off open pit mine that they've got there. That obviously brings enough money to keep the course in A grade conditions. So awesome. It's cool. It's nice to have variety.
So it'll keep climbing. It'll keep climbing until the minerals run out.
Yeah, we better get there.
Man.
So
no, we gotta go there. I agree. I think it's amazing.
Gentlemen, I've got a question for you. So you've got 3 courses here. The top 3: Leopard Creek 82.8, the Links 82.3, St. Francis Links 81.7. What do you think? I mean, is that a fair reflection in terms of the ranking? Have you played those 3 courses? I mean, are they head and shoulders above the rest? Obviously Blair Athol's there at 81.4, but those 3 are really separated by not much. Would you swap those around or whatever, or is that the order that you would have the top 3 golf courses in South Africa, or would you try and throw like a Blair Athol or a Pearl Valley into the mix there rather than those top 3? Swannie?
Yeah, I wouldn't change that, Jacques. I think they've got it spot on. Well, Stuart's got it spot on, just like the Dirtsburg Greens. But so I wouldn't change it. I mean, so Leopard Creek, I think I said it earlier, Leopard Creek's there for the reason that it's an experience. It's a great track. You've got the Kruger Park next to you and everything like that, and the fact that Leopard Creek is playable for the average golfer. It really is. Honest to God, it is. St. Francis, Fancourt Links is once again same. It's an incredible experience. It's remarkable. I mean, you go there, you play the golf course. Every single thing that happens is breathtaking. The way the hospitality is good. The way they host you is good. Everything's manicured to a T. Nothing goes wrong there. What's the guy? What's his name again that owns the place? Anyway, forget his name. And then the third is, what's it? St. Francis Links.
Yeah.
Is that the other one? Yeah. I mean, Jacques, you know that. We went there. We had a wonderful experience. For me, I don't know, St. Francis Links, playability, yes, easy, but if you know where you're hitting it.
Yeah.
If you know where you're hitting it, yes, it's a hell of a thing. So no, I think it's right, eh?
Terence, I mean, do you agree? Do you reckon those top 3 are in the right order and the right top 3?
Yeah, I agree on St. Francis Links in terms of playability. You know, when we played there, I think 6 out of 8 of us had never played there before, and yeah, I had a couple of tough a couple of tough hours out there with a few of the guys. Actually, a little bit grumpy afterwards. But again, yeah, I guess the sort of course when you play it a couple of times, you realize there is actually quite a bit of space. A couple of uncomfortable tee shots. You got to hit it in the right spots. Yeah. I haven't played at Leopard Creek, so I can't really comment. I mean, the links is obviously, I think the links is fantastic. So I can't really, I would probably put the links ahead of St. Francis. I think that's right. I think the more interesting question is where DCC might find itself slotting in. I don't know what your guys. I mean, I don't know if any of you. Well, certainly myself and JDV haven't played it. I don't know if you have yet, Swan, but we're interesting in a year or two. Where will DCC find itself? Because those are probably the top 4, right? That are going to probably battle it out.
Yeah.
Maybe you could argue that St. Francis Links isn't in that conversation. Maybe it's just Leopard Creek, the Links, and DCC.
I think you're 100% right. I think it's a conversation between those 3 in the years to come.
You just need to phone. I'm sure he's still awake. Why don't you give Guy Hankinson a call there? He'll give us a full overview of Durban Country Club. I think he plays there every afternoon. But I make sure that he gets his 50,000 divided by 12 in every month.
Gentlemen, just a quick one before we just do a couple of drive-bys here. Let's just look at the top in the various rankings. I did mention that South Africa, that KZN was only mentioned in the top criteria, and let's just go through it. It's best in aesthetics, shot values, design variety, playability, memorability, and conditioning. Those are the criteria that they have for how they rank it. 20 points conditioning, 20 points playability, 15 aesthetics, 15 design variety, 15 memorability, and 15 shot values. KZN courses, the only 2 we have in any of those in the top 10 is Champagne Sports, number 7 in aesthetics, and we've got Princess Grant, which is number 10 in aesthetics. Sorry, and we've also got Amdoni, which is number 8 in aesthetics. Unless I'm missing one, and you guys can call me out if I am, that is the only time that KZN features in any of the top of the ranking criteria, like sort of broken down per aspect, which says quite a lot about what we rely on in KZN to sell our golf courses, which is essentially aesthetics, which I don't think is a bad thing. I mean, we've got the Berg, we've got the ocean, but yeah, it is interesting to see that's where the KZN courses have got most of their points is in aesthetics. Swan, what do you think about that? Do you think that's a bit unfair? Do you think we've got some of the best conditioning that's being forgotten, some of the best memorable holes, etc., or do you think that's a fair reflection?
I think it's fair. I think KZN's a different climate to the rest of the country, to be honest with you. I think there's a lot of things that I don't know, that these courses, I mean, you look at Ndoni as an example. I mean, it's like the course is close to the ocean that they struggle and things like that. I mean, I think the way it's been based is right. I mean, what we're going, what was the highest rank KZN course again? Zimbali. So Zimbali, I mean, yeah, if you look at Zimbali in terms of a course that's relatively close to the ocean compared to the rest, it's done well, eh? It's a phenomenal course. Why is Simbiti not on here? Is it just because it's as Hoffwood's, or no, Hot, so not Hoff. Yeah, it was Hoff, hey. What did Hoff say? Simbiti is a mashie.
Yeah,
is that right?
he was trying to convince us.
Quote unquote.
Yeah, it's a mashie course. Apparently, I don't agree with that.
But he really likes the one. He really likes the one par 5 on there.
Yeah, look, Terence, it's a story for another time. But that Mashie course cost Hoff a tour event trophy where he 4-putted the last. Anyway, so just remind them of that when you see them. No, Jacques, I think they've got it right. Personally, I think they've got it right.
I'm just quickly, guys. We coming to the end here. It's we've been a lot of glasses of wine down, so I'm
Almost
just gonna
midnight.
Yeah, I'm going to wrap it up. So I'm just going to go through the top 2 in each of the facilities that they've rated here. So in range, number 1, Pearl Valley, number 2, Fan Court, locker room, Pretoria Country Club and Leopard Creek, service, St. Francis Links and Leopard Creek, 19th hole, Stellenbosch and Pinnacle Point. Shout out Royal Durban at number 7, top 10 bar. Then we've got Halfway House, number 1, Blair Athol, number 2, CCJ Johannesburg. Shout out Zimbali at number 13 and Nasna in top 10, which is interesting. Course Etiquette, Links at Fan Court, Leopard Creek 2, Zimbali's number 5, which is good. Pace of Play, which is an interesting one. Catberg at number 1, which is probably because there's not many people playing there, so Oaks get through quickly. Worcester at 2, Goldfields at 3.
I would love to know how the fuck they measure that. And the other one is course etiquette.
Yeah.
How do they measure course etiquette?
Well,
Yeah,
I can tell
that's
you,
fantastic.
I don't see
love it.
I don't see Goose Valley on Pace of Play. I do see Royal Port Alfred there. I'm Donny there for Pace of Play, which is interesting. And Port Shepstone.
You almost don't want to be on the pace of play, like top 25, you know.
And then
Hey, Port Shepstone got a mention.
Yeah, and then we've got Swan. We've got a picture of Sheena and Derek James of South Broom, who the number 1 pro shop with Royal J&K, Bryanston,
Derek
McCoy,
James
and CCJ. Other notables, guys. Anything else you want to shout out from the top facilities that have been ranked there?
Yeah, did you say Royal Durban best pub? Just stand.
Yeah, so 19th hole, Stellenbosch
Halfway
number
house,
1.
best halfway house.
Sorry, halfway house. No, it's 19th hole. No, it's definitely not halfway house, Terence. Shit, you almost baited me into that.
I got the sound clip.
Like it's a lovely pub. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I don't think it's the best pub.
Well, it's not the best.
okay.
It's the 7th best. So yeah,
Okay.
Royal Durban 7.
Okay.
Amdoni Park 24. Swan, would you rather have a beer at Royal Durban or Amdoni?
Oh.
Every day I'm doing.
Terence, any other note?
Hey, Terence?
I think St. Francis Links shouldn't be in that top 25. I thought the pub at St. Francis Links was pretty average, if I'm going to be honest. So, Port Shepstone should be in there, top 20, top 19th hole. No, I'm just joking. I think what would be interesting, JDV, is if they had like the top 20 pubs you're most likely to get in a fight in. I think the East Rand would stick up pretty high on those, and that might be a podcast down the line for us to do.
Yeah, I think that's a whole podcast on its own. Gentlemen, any parting thoughts before we close off here?
I just wondering how you feel, how your job interview went. We're now at 2 hours and 12 minutes. We aspire to keep these things to 45 minutes. What do you have to say for yourself?
Terence, I'm absolutely thrilled. I managed to squeeze out 2 podcasts in one sitting. So if anything, I'm overly productive. So if you say what's my weakness, I'm too productive.
Shame. Poor
I just
Swan,
can't wait
what
to
he was
send
getting
Jacques my
himself
bill.
into.
No, look, I mean, Jacques, we all know Jacques. I just can't wait to send Jacques my bill. I mean, if I spend this amount of time giving him stuff to work on and things like that, I'd be in for a lot of money. So, Jacques, expect something in the morning, brother.
No worries.
No, it's been good. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
No, it's been awesome. Thanks for coming on, bro. It's been really good. JDV, I just had to play this little sound clip for you. So this was we were talking about reviewing courses and that. This was this podcast that I was listening to earlier today. The guys who were reviewing the course that they played the PGA Tour on this last weekend, which was what they refer to as the TPC Craig's Arse. And yeah, let me just play this. Hopefully you guys can hear this.
For that one. And this thing is your AAA circuit, your Corn Ferry. I mean, did you see that golf course? And I honestly know the answer is yes, but let me ask the question: like, what did Mark Hubbard say about that fucking goat track?
I'm not gonna tell you what Mark said, but I can tell you it was a goat track. What a piece of shit! I mean, you could see the sod on the TV cameras.
Anyway, that did make me chuckle, considering we were talking about courses and they dropped our name in there as well. So might have to make a little sound clip out of that.
Inadvertent shout outs.
Yeah. Subliminal branding is happening all over the show. Guys, thanks a lot. JDV, well done. I'm going to take the host chair back, if you don't mind, on Monday. But well played. Thank you for guiding us. That was not an easy job, but I must say, I thoroughly enjoyed that. It did actually bring back some memories. And Swan, very lucky to have you with your broad palette of South African golf, and look forward to having you on down the line in future.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Terence. Thanks, Rocky.